All right, so tonight we're going to cover things like how price moves, liquidity, and why price targets certain areas, session highs and low sweeps, higher time frame fair value gaps, how we work down into an entry, and then we're going to go into your risk management, sizing, and stop loss placement. This isn't really about predicting every candle, understanding where price is likely to go based on the draws on liquidity, and waiting for an entry into those that fits this model, into that area or that draw on liquidity. First thing you need to understand is how price moves, right? You guys see it. Price will move like this, up and down in a stair step, or it'll move down, right? Sometimes you'll get some accumulation, but either way, it's still bouncing between some sort of level of liquidity. Give you some sort of a visual, right? So you see how here, price is moving up, down, up, down, up, down, grabbing liquidity, going lower, grabbing more liquidity, selling lower, right? Then boom, we have a breakout, and then we do the same thing here, right? Now we're accumulating. So we're bouncing in between ranges, but you see that price pretty much stays and respects, a level up here or level down here, right? Think about it like a ping pong match. You got buyers and sellers, and there are people making money on both sides, buying and selling, and everywhere in between. So you want to look at it kind of like a ping pong match. Another way to look at this is, if you think about it, there's really no reason a stock's price or these markets should move intraday, right? News and all that other stuff does not affect the market, in an intraday way like you see it with these candlesticks, right? The only way that you actually know the valuation of a stock or where the market's at is with hard data, and we only get that 4 times a year with these stocks. So that's going to be all 4 quarterly earnings reports. 3 months in between those reports is all speculation, manipulation by these hedge funds and these big banks, manipulating price on the way up and the way down until you guys figure out where that stock should be priced at, right? Beat earnings, and then it's going to ping pong up to the next level up, and then it's going to kind of do the same thing there. It's going to have a stair step up or down, and kind of continue on that ping pong analogy. Now that we know that price moves, pretty simple, right? In a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down fashion, right? Okay. So how do we target and find entries and find trades to take? This is the indicator I use, right? So Lux Algo ICT Kill Zones Toolkit. I will open up my settings so you guys can screenshot it really quick. Scroll down a little bit for you. The only thing you really have to change is time. Session highs and session lows. You have 3 sessions in our futures market, right? We have New York session, which opens up at 9:30 a.m. You have the Asia session, which opens up at 8 p.m. And then you have London, which opens up at 2 a.m. Each market is going to make a session high and a session low. You can see here, session high of London session high, London session low. All these highs and lows act as draws on liquidity. What do I do before market open? So I start out my day, 15-minute time frame, just because that's the highest one that the indicator shows you the session levels at. Handy dandy little button here. Boom. Draw a horizontal line, London high, Asia high. I'll go all the way up here to find a higher draw just to see where price might go if it passes those levels, right? Okay, so now I'm starting to mark out stuff, lower side up, right? Okay, we have New York AM low down here, London low here. So now how do we find out what draws on liquidity we're going to target? Overall trend in the market and liquidity sweeps. Now that I've got my levels marked out, I start on the 4-hour time frame, right? Going back to that nesting doll analogy, start with the biggest time frame. I look left from where we're currently at. See a 4-hour fair value gap here, right? And another 4-hour fair value gap here. We've inversed this 4-hour, right? You see how this move, this 4-hour move started down here, right? So in this leg up, we had 2 fair value gaps, but the most important fair value gap of any move or leg up or down is going to be that first presented, right? So that very first fair value gap that we made. You want to either use that as a guidance to where if we were to flip this, right, since it's the first presented, then my bias changes from a long to now that I'm looking short, right? Or I know that we were pretty bullish Monday and Tuesday. Kind of makes sense that we took a little profit on Wednesday. So then option number 2 is long, right? So I'm going to try to find an entry for a long position anywhere inside of this 4-hour gap, right? So if the market comes down in here and it inverses off of the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap or the middle point, I'm going to stab long. Go down to the 1 hour, kind of the same deal, right? You've got a fair value gap stacked up in here, but the 4-hour is the larger fair value gap, so it holds more validity. And then I keep going down through these time frames and continuing to identify areas where we can either bounce off of or use as confirmation for the move in the opposite direction. Same thing here, another fair value gap. So I know the market's probably going to react out here, right? This is a big area, right? We have like 5 time frames with fair value gap stacked up. So what does the market do? Right it open. First 3 minutes, we have a Judas swing down into that middle point of that 4-hour gap. Let me take a step back. I'm gonna give you guys a checklist, right, of what to do. All right, so we got mark our session highs, session lows, start on the higher time frame and look for fair value gaps, and then you go down. The third thing you're gonna do, you're gonna wait. You're not gonna touch your trading platform or those buttons at all until the market hits one of these levels of liquidity. So what did we do? Market did that within the first 5 minutes of open. It was a confirmed sweep of the level because we had a candle closure below it. Then let's see what happens next. Confirmed sweep of our level. Higher time frame, draw on liquidity where the market is going to tell us which way it wants to go. So we've waited, we've been patient. The market hit one of our levels. Okay, now we're getting ready to interact with the market here. We're ready to engage. We're ready to put some risk on. We're ready to take a trade because we know that it's going to happen or it's not. Fourth step is we got to find our entry, which our entry for this model is going to be an inverse fair value gap. We already know what a fair value gap is, right? So our entry model is going to be these levels of liquidity getting swept, and then an inverse fair value gap is what's going to tell us what direction that the market wants to go in. So here, right? Market creates this fair value gap, 1 minute fair value gap right on top of our level. So what am I doing here? Light bulbs are going off. My finger's ready to go on the buy button, right? Because if we inverse this gap, that tells me that the market filled the orders down here at the middle point of this gap and also filled the orders that it made on the way down to go fill that. Is going to be a good indication that we are going to continue higher. So we're going to inverse this gap, maybe retest it, maybe not, and go up. With it being this close to open, you guys know what happened. We all saw it this morning. So, okay, so let's see the next candle. Boom, that's what we did. Right, we did it with some force. You would have gotten a pretty terrible entry on this, but in theory, right, we inverse that gap. You would run your stops down here, swing low, and then you would target our draws on liquidity higher. So our Asia and London highs, right? So boom, there's your trade, right? Your risk on here. 300-point trade, 1 to 3 RR. Cool. And it delivers with some speed. A little bit of retracement, which is normal. This was me. I'm break even at this line here. You're going to go break even, swing highs, swing lows, just to protect your capital. Because in theory, if it goes past that, your trade, you're right on this trade, and you should win. If not, you saved yourself from getting manipulated. Boom, candle closure. We hit that level, break even. You guys really don't need to take profit 300 points. You guys should only need, like 50 points. So profit here would have been perfectly fine. You would hit that in like 15 seconds. But just to show you guys a longer example. Everybody's good with the 4 steps, right? Fairly simple. Okay, I'll make it 5, right? Enter the trade. That's it. You mark out those levels and you mark out the higher time frame gaps. You just be completely patient and let the market tell you which way it wants to go. If you guys are looking at your charts and looking at the market and it's moving too fast for you and you're indecisive, that probably means that the market is also indecisive. So you should not trade. You need to let the market tell you where it wants to go. You'll look at it and a light bulb will pop off and you'll be like, this is A+, and that's when you know when to hold them and when to fold them. Going back to my statement, right, about how the market moves, okay? So, exhibit A, go back here, right? What am I looking at when I see this chart? Okay, we're kind of in a downtrend. Well, okay, a little spike higher. Nope, we're stepping lower, right? Stepping down. And that was over a span of 2 months. Slow down grind. And then we recover that whole move, 2,000 points, parabolic up. Okay. So now everybody's thinking, oh, we're long, right? Break a structure. Okay, we're going up. All right, now you're not wrong necessarily, right? But going back to how price moves, this is not really a stair, right? This is just a straight parabolic line. So you got to understand that a lot of money was made on this 2,000 point range, right? These guys are not going to hold the bag on a 2,000 point gain, right? So you're looking to play the pullback, right? For market open. All right, I look left. So I start on the 4-hour, okay? And I look left. Boom. All right, I see a 4-hour gap. Cool. It's a market out. Found a nice little rectangle to mark out. Hell yeah. This is your job, guys. This is how hard it is. All right, cool. Gap there. All right, we got another gap down here. An old level of liquidity above. It's been a while since we've touched it. A lot of orders there, right? 4-hour gap. We moved pretty good off of it. All right. Now we got the same thing, but in the opposite direction. Okay. So now what am I looking for, right? Market's either going to do one of two things. Go up or down. Sounds stupid, right? But it's that easy. Okay, so market's either going to come here, come close, and then come back down and grab all these orders here before blasting through this. This is a massive move up. 2,000 points in 2 days is some serious buying pressure. So they're either going to take profit a little bit, come fill some more orders so they can continue the leg higher, or market has that much steam. It's already on its way up, right? It's gonna create another leg up on the gap. So 1 hour, kind of the same thing, right? Got another one up here. I know is gonna be another line of defense, and then you kind of have the same thing as you go down on the smaller time frames, right? You're gonna have oddball gaps here and there. So find the common ground. Go down to the 1 minute. So I've done what? Marked out the fair value gaps. So now I'm going to mark out my session highs and session lows. London high here has been swept. It's invalidated. See what the market does. Okay, so now we've marked those out, session highs, session lows. There's going to be a good bit. So if there's a lot of levels like that, you wait for a higher time frame gap to get touched. So when it does this, all right, light bulbs are going off. Okay, we're a little overextended. They're going to come down. So there was no trades for me on the day here because we just pretty much went up. No retracements back in, no entries of a gap, right? So the only thing I would have taken would have been a continuation since we pumped so hard, right? I'd wait for us to pull back into here and get an inverse out to the upside. So we didn't get that. All right, market ends. We basically just pumped all day. So I'm thinking we're a little overextended. These guys are going to want to take profit and they're going to want to do it probably before 9:30 open. I see that we chopped around and we built up one of my favorite things. Going back to my comments about how price moves, right? Their steps. I'm not going to say it that many more times, I promise. But you look here, right? See how we kind of just have a slow grind up and down in a tight range, but it's just slowly grinding up. This is what we call low resistance liquidity. All that is algorithmic trading bots, these hedge funds manipulating price a little bit higher so they can then continue the next leg down. So I see us building this low resistance liquidity. Light bulbs start going off. Okay, we're overextended, and now we had a pretty strong sell-off right at close, right? But they weren't ready to commit, so now we're engineering price a little bit higher for what? So they can sell at the top up here and get that extra 100, 200 points on this move. So light bulbs go off. I'm on the 5 minutes. I'm on a higher time frame. In Asia, I like to see higher time frame closures just because price action can be kind of buns. Delivery can be buns in Asia. So all right, still no trade. We engineered all this liquidity up. Looks like a slow grind higher, and then we swept these highs. So we swept the liquidity again. And now I'm gonna get rid of all these since these are invalidated. We're overextended. Market moves in up and down patterns because people are taking profit. What do? Start on the 4-hour. Market close. See that we got a big gap here. 2 big gaps. Now my light bulbs are going off. That's a lot. That's 8 hours of unfilled orders. 8 hours of straight pump and profit. We swept some nice internal liquidity over here. So now we want to go engineer and get all this internal, right? All these engineered grind up, right? Pretty much bump up. On the 1 hour time frame, I find a fair value gap. Okay, I like it. Higher time frame, cool, go down. Yep, kind of similar. Cool, kind of similar. All right, we respected it here, but if we were really going to respect it, right, you'd want to kind of see us continue in a V-shaped pattern. We kind of tapped it, quote unquote, respected it, then engineered our way up higher, wait for a closure underneath the gap. All right, we're in the next New York session anyway. So inverse the gap to the downside. We're overextended. Price moves in a stair-stepping pattern. You get a candle closure here, and you would target probably one of these higher time frame gaps. 327 points. You don't need to move like that, right? So let me show you this, guys, on a little bit more of a macro level. Now, another trade you could have taken here, right? We engineered that liquidity. We ran it. We're respecting this gap. We're overextended and we're chopping around, right? If the market was going to continue up, I feel like we would have continued up. We have this level marked out because it is a high, right? So now I know that we're building up this low resistance liquidity. So where is this thing likely going to tell me where it wants to go? If it wants to go back down to large higher time frame fair value gap that is holding a bunch of orders, or does it want to collect orders and just continue higher after it breaks through these highs? All right, we're on the 5-minute time frame. We get a sweep of that high. All right, light bulb's going off. We're still way too overextended. We're not really stair stepping. So you made the fair value gap on the 5-minute time frame. You're going to wait for a candle closure on that time frame. Okay, we're waiting for our entry. No entry. Okay, boom, we get our entry, right? We're short here. Stops at the swing high. You could even put them here on the fair value gap, but in this market, it's safer just to take on the more risk and size down, right? All right, now I'm in this trade, right? I've got an inverse fair value gap to the downside with a lower draw on liquidity, which is Asia low that is sitting inside of a higher time frame gap, and a New York PM low that is underneath the gap, right? But you guys this is a 100-point move right here. You don't need anything more than that. You need half of this. You size correctly. But this is how you would trade it. Trade down to that Asia session low. Your break even point would be here. Okay, that's a nice swing low and internal liquidity. Okay, I'm monitoring this on the 1 minute just because. So same thing. Higher time frame gap. You could have waited, right? If you didn't want to put on that extra risk, you can wait for a retest of these gaps. But just keep in mind, not every time you're going to miss a lot of entries. Not going to retest it every time. So, like I said again, it's going to be easier to size down and put on that extra few points of your stop loss to kind of save yourself from manipulation. So, manipulated. You would have got manipulated. You set your stop here. Was a sketch trade. I actually believe I entered off of this candle in my actual trade, which just happened to be when I looked at the chart. But yeah, this thing plays out. Chops around, but you finally end up getting that tap. That's pretty much it, guys. I know it kind of seems like a lot, but you'll learn over time. The more you're in the market, the more you'll learn. So that's pretty much it, guys. If I could leave you with one more thing. Learning the strategy is 10% of trading, right? This pattern recognition and these ICT concepts has provided the cleanest entry model. The hardest part, 90% of it, is going to be your risk management, how you treat these accounts, if you're treating them like a slot machine or what. That's it. I mean, it's literally your risk management and your psychology. That's 90% of it. So